Okay, we're live.
Okay.
All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Serve Brew. I hope that y'all are having an awesome week. It's been a while since we've done a Serve Brew. If you guys have been following along the journey over the last several years, we've had a lot of cool guests share with us their different outreach tips and tricks and journeys. And we are so excited to jump into a fresh new season. And I am so excited. There's nobody better to kick this off with us than Miss Alisha Henley. Hey, Alisha.
Hi.
She is the outreach director for Lifepoint Church in Virginia. They have lots of campuses. If you guys have been following them on Instagram, Lifepoint Outreach, oh my gosh, their stuff is insane, especially since the pandemic, like even before, but when COVID hit, these guys just they stick out. The creative stuff they're doing, the scalable stuff they're doing, they're empowering their church members. We do like weekly PDFs that we highlight different churches and their cool outreaches, and I swear LifePoint is on there like once or twice a week. Like it's just every single time they've got new stuff coming out. So yeah, and I just have so much respect for you, Alisha. You are rad. You did our social media takeover on Serve Day and let us peek into your world live. So thank you so much for joining in today. We're really excited to
Thank you
have
for the
you.
opportunity.
Yes, it's going to be awesome. So yeah, tell us a little bit about you personally. Let us get to know you a little bit, and then tell us about your role at LifePoint and what that looks like.
Okay. Well, so as you mentioned before, I'm the outreach director at Lifepoint, and this is really exciting for me. I've been working for Lifepoint for about 5 years, and I've held many different positions. But prior to working for church, I actually was a executive director for a nonprofit. And so I've built my entire career, secular career in the nonprofit industry, and just like God, because He's such a good God. I probably about a year ago, I was actually at I think I may have been at the Grow conference in Birmingham, Alabama, and I just started praying, God, when are you going to align like my passions up with ministry? Because nonprofit really was my passion. And in ministry, I'd been in students, I had been in guest services in all these different areas. And it was like the moment I said that, the moment I prayed that, the moment I just surrendered everything to God, God began to move. And so I began to talk to my boss about just different things that were on my heart that I wanted to do, a dream center, just, if there was ever any way I could get into outreach. And maybe not even a month later, my boss came to me and said, hey, look, our current outreach person, which some of you guys may be familiar with, her name is Stella Cathcart, and she's fabulous. She's been called to Germany, and we just launched a Germany campus, a campus in Germany. And so we're going to be needing someone to step into that role. And it was like everything just clicked, and it was like God heard my prayer. And so here I am in outreach role, and lo and behold, in the middle of my transition, COVID hit. so that's my world right now.
Oh my gosh, I love it so much. I love your journey and your story. Yes, because I remember right when COVID hit, we had started doing online serve meetups, and you and Stella co-hosted. And it
Yes.
was like, hey, I'm going to Germany. I love Stella so much. And she's like,
Yes.
this is Alicia. She's taking over. Okay, bye. And it was awesome. It was so great. I was like, y'all just threw that lady right in. But you had the experience and the journey, so you were like ready to go.
I really was.
That is amazing. Oh my gosh, I love it. Okay, so tell us a little bit about LifePoint. Like Pastor Daniel Floyd, we love the Floyds, we love the whole family and the culture. But for those of our viewers who maybe don't know about it, what's it like? Y'all got campuses, what's the culture, all that jazz, and what does outreach look like within that?
Yes. So as you mentioned, pastors Daniel and Tammy Floyd are our senior pastors, and they are fantastic. Love them. They lead us so well. And they started LifePoint in 2005. So on the scale of things, we're not an old church, but we've done a lot in our time. And we have 6 stateside locations. in the state of Virginia. And what's kind of different about our locations is the locations are not necessarily in the same city. So it's not like we're one city with many locations. We're actually in different areas of Virginia. Some of our campuses are not far away. Our closest campuses are 15 minutes apart, but then some of our campuses are an hour away. So we have 6 locations stateside in Virginia, and then we are launching a location in Louisville, Kentucky, and in Germany. So we will have 8 locations total. We probably have, right now with our 6 locations, well, pre-COVID, we probably averaged around 6,000 a Sunday. So we're pretty spread out amongst the 6 locations. And so now that we are online, and we've also opened our doors, so we're meeting in churches too, but we're only about 30% capacity in our churches because in addition to the limited number we can have, but we also have to factor in that they need to social distance. So we're about 30% capacity in our locations, and then we're still running online services. So.
Oh my goodness, lots going on. And you are overseeing all of this, right?
Yeah, all of outreach. So for us, outreach consists of obviously local outreach, helping people. It consists of benevolence. It consists of our correctional facility ministry, national and global, so mission trips and any disaster relief. All of those are kind of under the outreach umbrella for us.
Friend, you have a full plate.
That is
like 5 different jobs in one.
But I got a great team.
yes, you gotta have a great team. That's awesome. Yes. And oh my goodness, the Kentucky location. They did Serve Day before they've even officially launched. And that's so cool. I'm actually interviewing them next week, I think, or in a couple of weeks, just to be like, what is that all about? You do Serve Day before you launch your church. I love that. Love the culture there. That's so cool.
Yes. Pastor Sean called me right before Serve Weekend. He was like, Alisha, I need you to send me shirts. We're gonna serve the city. I was like, yes.
So proud. You're like, my little babies, they get it. Awesome. They do such a great job. It's incredible. Okay, so let's go to, I would love to know a little bit about, I know that you're spanned so far across the state and the world, but if you could maybe highlight some of the needs and the demographics that maybe just highlight like 3 or 4 different things that are very consistent that you guys maybe found as your sweet spot or as just the code that you've cracked to your community. This is how we're able to meet certain needs. Just what is Virginia like? I'm not from the Northeast. I'm Southeast and a little bit West. I don't know about Virginia.
So ironically, while we are not far from Washington, D.C., it is more of a small town feel. And so where we have found kind of our niche in the past is really helping our neighbor. So it is really finding out, we do a lot of construction projects. So, somebody needs a ramp to get into their home because they're wheelchair bound. So we do a lot of those type of projects. Even things from like, elderly couples needing re-roofing. We find that we do a lot of relational outreach where it's just somebody knows somebody and they need a helping hand. And through that, we can just, take them on a spiritual journey and introduce them to Christ.
That is so cool. And honestly, I did not realize that was kind of y'all's setup. And that makes sense of why during COVID, when we were having to be dispersed, you guys were ready. You guys were so strong in that because you're already doing that relational one-on-one type of thing. Yes. You were set. That is so cool. Okay. So with all of that, what is y'all's strategy and structure? Because what I've seen based on social media and just talking to you guys briefly is you're incredibly amazing at empowering your people to come up with an idea. I'm going to go to the truck stop and I'm going to bless the drivers with the treat bag that I made. There's so many of those ideas circulating. How do you guys structure things to where people find those ideas, feel empowered in them? And then what are you offering? Like, do you guys do a Serve Day? Just give us like a snapshot of that whole structure.
Well, that's really interesting because we are actually taking the month of August to reimagine and dream and just write a brand new structure. So we've just found with COVID, there is a need to make some shifts. And but prior to that, and even now, our structure is we do want to empower people. And the thing about it is, we don't want to do outreach without offering more. You know what I mean? We don't want to do outreach without inreach. And what good is helping someone if you never offer them Jesus or they never see Jesus? And so for us, that means we've got to empower individuals. You know people who need Jesus and you know people who need help. So we want to help you reach those people. And so that's kind of always been our strategy. So we are very open. Each of our locations has a local outreach coordinator on the ground. And so that local outreach coordinator has relationships at that campus. And so people are able to just say, hey, I've got an idea. I would love to do this. Or, you know, school teacher can come and say, hey, my school really needs help in this area. And so we are able to build relationships that way. And what's so fun about it is when people know that they can actually help someone that they know, they want to help more, because it's not just some abstract organization or person, but it is somebody that I know. They're connected to a story. I get to see them, feel them, touch them. And so they're more apt to want to do something. We also work with our groups a lot. We encourage our groups. Hey, you guys see a need a need. So what is something that you see around you in your neighborhood? What are you a part of? And together as a group, not only can you go meet that need, but also you're walking your own spiritual journey. You're making a difference in the world. You're fulfilling your purpose. And so we really stress that helping others is, yes, it's about helping others and it's about introducing them to Jesus, but it's also about your spiritual journey. And so if you want to be all that God has called you to be, then you should be doing outreach. And so we've had a really good response like that.
Wow. That is so
And
cool. It's
yeah,
integrated. That is, it's not check this box and check that box. This is a lifestyle, and that's
the
how you have the
lifestyle.
culture you have.
Yeah.
Wow. What were you gonna say? Sorry.
Yeah, I was just going to say that in this season, since COVID hit, so we kind of keep tabs on every single person that we've touched. So if we give groceries to someone, you know, we mark them down, we write them down. If we've dropped off baby formula to someone, if we helped, you know, a homeless person move into their own apartment, whatever we've done, we mark that person down. And we have found since March 15th, right now I checked yesterday, we are at a little over 113,000 people. And we realized when we look at the numbers and we're like, okay, we averaged around 6,000 people a Sunday, but outside of the church, we have now managed to somehow personally touch 113,000 people. We realize that now we've got to, like, our outreach is ministry. Like, that is the thing. That is how we reach people. And so because of that, we're taking this month to kind of re-strategize how we're reaching people. And so my team is actually meeting. And by the way, my team is all volunteers. And so my team, we are actually taking this month to meet with every single department in our church and saying, if you could do outreach in your department, if you could take your department out, what would you do? How would you do it? And so if you were worship and you could do a concert in an apartment complex, would you, how would you do that? If you're our Kids Point ministry, if you could do Kids Point or Kids Camp at a local community playground, like, just what are your department's wildest dreams? We want to help you make that happen. We want to get you people and we want to get you resources to make that happen, because we realize there's a need to take the church out to people.
Dude, that is so brilliant. That is so brilliant. I really haven't heard that idea even thrown out before. And yes, because it's so, outreach has such a tendency to be like, that's your box. The outreach team will take care of that. That's a
Yeah.
need. This
Yeah.
is something we all own. And you get excited when you realize, wait, my talents, even though I'm the worship leader, I'm still needed to go outside of the four walls.
Exactly.
That is
Exactly.
that is the way to build culture. That's amazing. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, I love that. I
And we've
cannot
had
wait
some
to
things.
see that.
It's going to be great. I'm really excited about it. And
Um,
we've had, like, just out of the box ideas that we never thought about before. one of our photographers in our communications department said, I would love to go out and teach people photography because this is a way that people who are furloughed from their jobs or off or got fired or, or not working, they can make money this way. And so I would love to teach people photography. And we were like, well, we can partner with you. We can make that an outreach thing. Like, somebody wants to learn a new skill. So, so it's created some synergy in our church, really. It's really been great, but COVID really helped us to actually see real life needs and not just, what we think outreach is, what we think a community service project is, but no, what are real tangible needs and how can we meet it?
Wow. It just like woke up a whole new set of senses and a whole new layer of things. I love that you guys are not married to a certain play. I think a lot of times, especially when we're new in outreach and we're figuring it out, it can be intimidating. And so we'll be like, let me just find the playbook that someone else has done. And that's great. That's what I do. Like, here's an outreach playbook, go run with it, try it out, cool.
Yeah.
But sometimes we forget to embrace and lean into let's welcome in a little bit more chaos because I want more voices at the table, more hearts and more ideas. It can be like, for me, if I'm going into a room of, say I have a small group meeting and I don't have my plan in place and I'm just like, here's a blank slate, what do y'all think? I can get nervous because I'm like, I don't know how to navigate ideas. How do I say yes? How do I say no? Where do we go from here? It's intimidating. Yeah. But when you do, the beauty is exponentially more meaningful and more powerful because their voices are reflected in it. So I love that y'all are doing that. That's powerful. My gosh. Okay. So for someone who maybe, they're new eyes on this story, kind of looking and trying to navigate, what does this look like? So I love that y'all are decentralizing. You've empowered your campuses. Y'all find the needs. You act on it. It's so engaged. It's so personal. But what does it look like for, say I'm a new church member. I've never been there before. I know I want to make a difference. And I walk up to a staff member or team member. I just want to get involved. What do I do? What's kind of that journey? What do you tell them? What do you hope that path of engagement looks like?
So for us, it definitely starts with what we do growth track at Lifepoint. So it definitely starts with growth track. And as we're talking to people about how they can make a difference and how they can live out their purpose, we also talk about serving. And we want you to not only serve in church and be on a serve team, on a dream team, but we also want you to serve outside of church. And so immediately in Growth Track, we begin to talk about the Serve app. And hey, do you have the Serve app downloaded? This is where you can find opportunities to serve here. And then we also push it we partner with groups and push it inside of groups. And so we kind of ask groups to do projects together. And so what we want people to know is this is a part of our culture. It's a part of making a difference, is doing a serve project. Prior to COVID, we really did a push for Serve Saturday, which was the second Saturday of the month. And you could come and check the Serve app, and there would be service projects for you to participate in. We asked small groups to plan service projects for that Saturday. We would have our serve table up in our Sunday environments where you could come and check out and see what was offered for that Saturday. We've kind of switched our new thinking to Serve Day is every day now. And so since Serve Day is every day, you can go on the Serve app and find a project at any time. And so Growth Track is really that avenue where we're really pushing that to, hey, sign up for the Serve app and consistently check the Serve app. During this month of August, where we're reimagining and just recalibrating and figuring out what our new normal is going to be in our new rhythm, one of the things we are discussing is, since Serve Day is every day, and we don't necessarily have Serve Saturday, we still want, what is that rallying point where we push people to do something? And so some of the ideas that we're considering, which we don't quite, right now, everybody is, because of COVID, people are always serving and people are always on the Serve app. But we know when things slow down that may not be the case. So one of the things that we're talking through is keeping a Serve Saturday kind of setup, but pushing that with groups, that all groups on a Serve Saturday plan a group project. So while the outreach team has things going on all the time and Serve Day is every day and you can sign up, your group may just have something on second Saturday. So that's kind of one of the ideas we thought of. We're still fleshing it out of what that's going to look like when things kind of die down. But thankfully, because we're doing so much and because the church sees it and we're so outward focused, we're right now, people just on any given day, you can check, you could be a shopper and a dropper on a Tuesday. You get sew a mask on a Thursday. You can just do whatever.
I love it so much. That's a blast, man. You guys, it's like a wildfire. And I tell people that all the time, like, how do I start this culture? And it's like, you just have to get one win and
Yeah.
celebrate the fire out of it. And then someone else is going to be like, oh, I can do that too. And it just spreads. I know it's hard work too. It's not like magic, but that's really the key to it, is just people like want to do things that are awesome. And if they
Yeah.
say they're not doing it, it happens. It's that simple. It's nothing crazy. But I love that so much. So what would you say, like, you guys, it sounds like a lot of it is just church members, you're empowered, join a group, like have fun, plan it and go for it. What sort of resources do you give them on how to plan something? Is that something that you take them through a small group curriculum? Like, how do they know how to dig deep in themselves and find these needs and find their passions and their gifts? Like, what kind of tools are you using to train them on that stuff?
Absolutely. So we actually have forms on how to plan a project. So we have a form. We give it to groups right now during our kind of our Serve weekend timeframe. We actually put it online so anybody can access it. And then beyond that, like right now, we offer it to groups and Serve teams. And in that document, it's got different ideas of, all the ideas are kind of categorized. Like if you want to do something outdoors, if you want to do something community service driven, if you want to do how to partner with someone. And because of this season, we've added a category for virtual ideas. So if you want to do an outreach project, but you're still not where you want to come out and be around a lot of people, well, we've got virtual ideas for you and things you can do from home. And so we've got lots of ideas that we put out and we give to groups. And then in addition to the ideas, then we have a document that takes you step by step of how to plan. Like, it's basically like an event planner. Like, here's step number one. How do you get your volunteers? How do you get your group together? How do you contact people? How do you log your project? So we use Jotform a lot of times. So we've got a Jotform where you can register your project. We've got a Jotform where you can register the hours spent. And if you need funds, that's something you can request from your local coordinator if you need funds. But to be honest with you, we offer that, but most groups, they just get in there and do what they have to do and don't worry about funds. And so it's not as, I know for a church, for the outreach director, it could be like, oh no, we don't know who's going to ask for what. But to be honest, we probably, when we added up even what we did for Serve Weekend, we probably spent the amount of the projects was probably triple the cost of what we actually gave out for people. Most people just pitched in themselves and took care of a need. And then you'll be surprised at how many companies jump on board. They find out you're building a ramp for somebody and then Home Depot just wants to give you wood. And so, so it's like, we'll take that. Thank you. So we make sure that that all of our groups and particularly for Serve Weekend, when we push it for our entire church, actually have step-by-step instructions on how to form a project, how to plan a project, how to get resources and money for a project, and also project ideas. And now we are actually we are setting aside each campus based on their size, budget money to make sure that when a group does a project, we supply gloves, hand sanitizer, Lysol wipes, and even paper mask if we need to. So each local coordinator knows that a part of your budget needs to be set aside for that, so that we can make sure that even when a group says, yes, we're going to do something, that we can say, hey, these are the things that are required to keep you safe and we're going to provide them for you.
That is incredible. That's fantastic. And that was going to be my next question. You kind of covered some of it, but in light of COVID, what adjustments have you guys had to make? I know you added the virtual project idea, added these extra supplies available. That's incredible. Anything else that you guys have had to pivot or rethink through during pandemic?
Absolutely. Yes, a lot.
No.
A lot of our outreach focus has shifted to local. We do have global, mission trips, and we did disaster relief trips. So a lot of this has shifted to local. And so that was one kind of pivot we had to make, was even with our budget, like, how are we dividing our budget up between global, national, and local? But we've also, so for Serve Weekend, for instance, we normally would have huge anchor projects. The anchor projects that we ran this year were very, I hate pandemic friendly, if that makes sense. I don't know if a pandemic could be friendly, but they were. We did, so our anchor projects were at 3 of our locations. For several days, we did blood drives. So we were able to keep people 6 feet apart, and not a lot of interaction between people, and gloves and masks and all that kind of stuff. We also did a food drive, and it was just like a drive-through food drive. So people were able to pick up their food, place it in their trunks, drive through, pop their trunk, and we would take their food out of their trunk, and then we'd also put a Serve t-shirt inside of their trunk. So it was very, very COVID friendly. And so those were our bigger anchor projects. And this year we really, really, really pushed for groups to form projects, because if you were meeting with your group anyway, you feel comfortable with those 10 or 15 people that you meet with. And so if you guys form a project together, then you're not really exposing yourself to new people, or as they say, expanding your bubble. And so that was kind of our pivot this year, especially with Serve Weekend. We've found a lot of virtual projects, and many of our, so correctional facilities is a part of outreach, and we haven't been able to get into many of our facilities. So we've been able to pivot by forming letter writing teams, and they've been able to write letters just to encourage the inmates, we have a juvenile facility, so we encourage them. We've been able to form letter writing teams for senior citizens homes, and homes for the elderly. And with even those homes, we've been able to actually get names so that we can make the letters a little bit more personalized and get those delivered to them. So we've formed a lot of projects that are very friendly to not having to have tons of people there to help the project. I think that has been our biggest win this season, actually. It may seem like a restriction, but our biggest win is that we've been creative as a team, just done things that no one else has thought about. Who would have ever thought to, record yourself reading books for children in hospitals that you can't actually visit, but they can go to YouTube and hear you read a book. And, who would have ever thought about something like that? It's just caused us to be really creative and innovative. And the side effect of allowing people to be creative and innovative is that they get really excited.
So true. Who would have thought the beauty that would have come out of this? I'm not downplaying the hardship and the tragedy and all of that at all, but God has definitely flipped the depths into heights on some things, and some coming out of us. So I love it so much. It's amazing. I have a bunch of questions as you're talking. I'm we could go that way and this way and that way. And there's so much I want to lean into from your heart and your wisdom. It's amazing. Let me go here with it. Let me just say, what would you say are some ideas that have personally stuck out to you? Maybe it's just the one you just said about reading books to kids on YouTube. That's so precious.
Yeah.
What have been your personal favorite specific ideas, and maybe a story that's just come from all this that has really stuck with you?
Yeah.
I put you on the spot. That wasn't in the question.
So I think that definitely the virtual things reading books. Some things that really stuck out to me is we've been having a lot of not parades, but like going to like senior citizens homes and things like that, and actually drawing on their windows, drawing pictures and saying hello, and, you know, developing relationships. And we even did like a little concert outside of one where you bought a keyboard and we were able to sing to people, and things like that you take for granted. You think, oh, it's not a big deal, but to someone who is already isolated, but now no one can come in or out of the facility either, to be able to do that is just I mean, it's really it's just heartwarming. It doesn't cost money, you know. It's just time, and those type of things I think really stick out to me is when someone who felt isolated no longer feels isolated. I think one of the stories that probably sticks out to me is we partner with an organization that uses that. They actually have a motel ministry, so they go into motels where people are living, and they provide them with financial classes and food and groceries, and they come in and do things for the kids and stuff like that because they are literally living in the motel community. We have several of those in our area. And so one of the organizations that we partner with had a young man who was not in their organization as of yet. However, he was a single father and had 2 kids and really needed help. And so generally they try to help people get from the motel to their own place. But this young man, the Lord was just really tugging and saying, hey, we've got to do something, and just kind of skip the whole hotel thing and let's get him a place to live. This young man lived with his parents. Both of his parents passed away. And he has 2 children, and it's just him and his kids. And when they passed away, the parents were the ones that had the house and all of that kind of stuff. So all of that left. The only thing that he was left with was a car. So he and his 2 children were living in his car. He did have a steady job. And so we were able to partner with this organization and move him to his own townhouse. But it didn't just stop there. It was the team that was like, it's not enough for him to just live in a townhouse. We've got to set him up. So, you know, helping to move him in and making sure he had furniture. And then the team went back just last Friday, as a matter of fact, and said, you know what, we want to make the outside of your house beautiful. So they redid his deck and planted flowers outside. And we just have so many pictures of, he is literally a young father just crying his eyes out, not realizing that somebody, you know, that God heard his cry, you know, in the car. God heard his cry and sent someone to help him. And I think what is fantastic about that story is in outreach, because we're helping so many people, we can get stuck in our processes. Like, this is the process to get this. This is the process for us to help you. This is the process to receive benevolence. But this was just a total Holy Spirit thing, where the Holy Spirit was like, nope, forget your process. This is what I need you to do. And so I think that's what stuck out the most to me about that, and his humility and how grateful he was. I cannot imagine, I meet a lot of single mothers. I can't imagine being a single father and feeling like you can't provide, and then having someone come alongside of you and help you meet your needs so your kids can have a home to grow up in.
Holy cow. I need to just sit for a few minutes on that story. Dude. And just your heart in that, the whole thing about people over process, people come first. And I can't tell you how many times I have broken a process and broken rules and been like, sorry, Jesus said.
Yeah.
And it's so easy. The more we get accustomed to a routine or and that is what you guys have done so well, is preparing and planning and making margin for the Holy Spirit to move.
Yes.
You're interruptible. There's divine appointments, and that structure is in place for a reason, and that's awesome. But then it's just for you to know where you colored outside the lines. Like, oh, that's a beautiful mark right there. Like, oh, I love it. I love it so much. Thank you for sharing that story. That was perfect.
I love that. I'm going to use that. They're just there so we can know where we've colored outside the lines.
I don't know.
I love that.
My head's weird sometimes. I have to make sense of things. Anyway, oh my gosh, that's incredible. So, all right, couple more questions for you. You've been incredible so far. I just want to sit for hours, like for real. But okay, you've kind of talked about this a little bit. Momentum for serving. You guys have had more than ever probably now momentum, and you are stopping and dreaming for this whole month. What does it look like? So this is kind of a twofold question. How are you guys, what are some ideas to keep the momentum going? And then also, like, what are you dreaming as you guys are sitting here and restructuring, re-looking at stuff for August, which I didn't even know when I asked you to interview that was what was happening. So we're like real time front row seat, what's going to happen on the edge. I love it. But if you had to like dwindle it down to like, here are a few things that I really want to see as the outcome of this dreaming stage, what are you hoping for?
Well, really for this dreaming stage, what I'm hoping for is, so I know this is, I know outreach is, outreach is a big beast, but I'm really praying for my team, that their hearts are so ignited by the possibilities of what they can do, that God can give them a dream in their heart and that dream can come true. Like I want that for my actual team. And so, so for my team right now, which they are all dream teamers, I'm the only paid person in outreach for our church. And so I have just given them a license to, if you could help anybody, if you could do anything, if you could run any program, what would you do? Because I just believe that even God wants to minister to them. I know that God will take care of his people. Like I have no doubt. And it doesn't have to be through Lifepoint. It's through several people. There are lots of people in our area that have just stepped up their game. Lots of churches, lots of organizations. Like we're not the only ones. We're not the only game in town. And so I want for my team to grow spiritually and just to receive an impartation from God that he can do anything. And if you had a dream in your heart, he can do it. He can do it. And so that's really my hope for my team right now. Some of our big goals are we want to create stronger relationships with our partners. We are a fairly large church in our area. And so sometimes people don't really know how to partner with us. It's just kind of like, I happen to meet somebody that goes to your church and I need help here. Can you tell me? And they don't really know quite the avenues to kind of, really submit an idea or get help. And I'm not talking about people in our church. I'm talking about people outside of our church. And so for them, I want to create a stronger partnership with our community. So some of the things that I'm starting to look at in my role is how can I be a part of community coalitions, going to Chamber of Commerce events, just getting out a little bit more so that people feel like they have a relationship with our church, even if they don't go to our church. At the end of the day, we want people who are far from God to meet Jesus. And so we want people to feel like they have a friend in Lifepoint, even if they never stepped foot in Lifepoint. So we are trying to increase our footprint, not for us, but because we want people to know that we are a resource in the community and we want to help, that Jesus wants to help you. And so if that means that you never step foot in our church, but you meet us at a Chamber of Commerce meeting and we form a partnership, then I'm willing to do that. So that's kind of the big picture. Also is looking, one of our bigger dreams is how can we partner with our community better. Locally, we are looking at switching up like how we do benevolence. So benevolence is kind of like almost like a process. You fill out some forms for our church. We ask you for some information. We have a team that goes behind the scenes that kind of evaluates what we can do, how we can best help you. Well, we want to take that team out. So while that team is back there making decisions, what we want to do is have somebody on the ground that actually executes it. So if the benevolence team says, yes, we're going to help you with groceries, in the past, that may have looked like we sent you a gift card. Well, now we have a benevolence team on the ground that's going to bring you your gift card. Because we want you to see us. We want you to see us face to face. And if you've got another need other than the gift card, we want to be able to hear about it. And so we want to just be tangible, I think, for our community. so that they not just know that we're there and we're just some big church that does things, but they actually have a face and know somebody, you know, on the ground, know somebody personally. So that's kind of where we are. Big picture dream, like maybe years from now, I would love for us to have a dream center. So I'm always constantly thinking of and dreaming about that. I think that's also why we're trying to really strengthen our relationship with our community partners. And then one of the things that we want to do with our partners, I think in the past, they've kind of just told us, oh, we need this. And we say yes or no, you know, based off of what we can do. We really want to come alongside them now and say, hey, what are your needs? So if your needs are people for your organization, guess what? We're willing to put that on our Serve app. Not just what we're doing, we're willing to put your event on our Serve app as well, so we can help you with people. If you need money, of course, you know, we want to help you with that. If you need organizational structure, you know, the beauty of the fact that I was in nonprofit for so long before I came here, like we'll even help you come in and help you get some organizational structure for your organization. Like we just want to be a better partner to our community. We want them to, we don't want to be the place where you just come to can you write us a check or whatever. We want you to know that we're in it with you. We're in it with you.
Okay. Oh my goodness. You are so incredible. Like the anointing and just the mindset that you have blows my mind. Like I'm writing things down over here just because it blows my mind how much of an open-handed, open heart you have, even talking about praying for your team and investing your heart into their dreams, because dreams beget dreams. So if you can help make their dreams come true, it's gonna spread like wildfire, sitting with your partners and dreaming with them. And it's just the amount of, you are such a servant. You are the one who wants to serve others so that they can go and serve others. And so that heart is so reflected, and that's why this works. And it takes a leader like that who is so humble and invested and excited about it. And I can tell, like, you have a lot of weight that you're carrying. You are the only staff person in a massive church across the world carrying this thing, but you're so light. And the only way that that's possible is because you've surrendered it to God and you're walking in his strength, and it shows. So thank you for that. I love it. And just I've talked to a lot of people who feel the weight of getting things done, making sure the problems are solved, making sure the pastor is happy, which is all great stuff. But the fact that your number one goal is this personal touch, benevolence, get out there, serve these people, give the personal touch, be tangible, and letting that team be part of it, not just behind the scenes, but to see the fruit of it. The fact that you have that mindset as the number one goal, the rest of those things are going to fall into place. And that is golden, Alisha. Seriously, golden.
Well, thank you for saying that. I honestly, I want to, first of all, as I mentioned before, Stella's footsteps are huge to feel. So for me, I was like, you know, I can't be Stella, but I can just do what God tells me to do. And so that's kind of like where I am now. Like, God, what do you want to do? And I think COVID has taught us all, God just wants us to serve people. Like, he wants us to love people. The Bible says God is love. And so the more we love people, the more we show them love, show them God. And I think that that's just kind of what he's requiring of us right now. Yeah. And so I'm just like, well, how can we do that better? Like, how can we just love people better? And so, so it's not, I appreciate what you said. It is definitely not me. It is just, I really want, I want God to be pleased with this time. Like, I don't want to take this time for granted. I don't want to spend 2020 complaining about what happened in 2020. I want to say, God, there's something we should be taking advantage of. Let's do it.
Yes. Holy cow, that was like a dagger. Don't spend it complaining. All the memes out there, we need to throw those in the trash. Love people. If we all started with that question, how can I love people? And if you love people, you're loving God. That is all it takes. And oh my gosh, you're amazing. That's so cool. Okay, Alisha, so one more question. I could go on for days, maybe two more questions. But one is, if you could recommend something from us, like what is inspiring you right now? Maybe it's a book or a sermon or a podcast. How can we lean into your influence?
So, ironically, this is a great question that you're asking me, actually, because I'm just like, God, what do you have for me? Like what should I be reading right now? What is my next step? And for whatever reason, I just felt like the Lord was like, just put down your books and pick up your Bible. Ooh. And so yes. And so I'm just like, okay. So he's just like, I just want you to hear from me right now. It's quiet. Things aren't, rushed. So just listen to me. So I have actually, I'm the book that I am reading right now, as ironic as like, I don't want to say holier than thou, but I am actually just reading my Bible. And right now God has me in Judges, which I was like, what in the world? Because I of all the books to read, I was like, okay, God, I'll just read your word for right now. What do you want? Romans, Corinthians, Hebrews, and it was like Judges. And I was like, Judges. And so everything is just, so-and-so begat so-and-so was the father of so-and-so was this. And so I've just been like, Lord, okay, I don't really know what I'm supposed to be getting from this right now. What are you supposed to be teaching me right now? And the Lord just really started taking me through the word begat. That begat means that something produced something. And so, and so he was just really beginning to show me that the thing that you want right now, and kind of some of it, it's 2020, things going on. So I was thinking about unity, and, I've been hearing a lot of preachers talk about how, Jesus' last prayer on the cross was that they would be unified. And so I feel like the Lord is taking me on this journey of, okay, well, if you're not loving well, or if there's disunity or whatever, what produced that? Like, trace this back to the beginning, because that's the thing that needs to be set free. That's the thing that needs to be talked about. And so I just feel like the Lord is just taking me back to basics almost. And that's where it's just like, love people, just love people. Like that's the basic. That's like the least, just love people. And so I feel like that's where God has taken me. And then fortunately, I had the opportunity to, our church has a college, Lifepoint College, shout out. And so fortunately, I've had the opportunity to be offered a leadership intensive class. This was the first time we've ever offered this class. It was for anybody who maybe desires to be a leader in our church or wants to know a little bit more about leader. You don't even have to enroll in the college, but you could take this class. And so we had over 140 something people sign up for this class. And so I am fortunate enough to be, so we do it via Zoom, and then we have little breakout groups. So I'm fortunate enough to be a facilitator in our breakout groups. But our pastor and some of our other leaders have been teaching the group at large. So in addition to going through Judges, I've been able to get this really great leadership teaching from our pastors, and just on all types of things, from aligning values to leading people well, to loving people well. And so I really feel, even though I'm not like in a book, I really feel full in this season. But I do hope to. I just got Clayton King's new book yesterday, so I am hoping to jump into that.
That's awesome. That was a great answer. You're making me want to go read Judges. Alisha, seriously, right before that, I said dreams beget dreams, and I've never said beget. Like, I've never said that phrase before. I was like, that sounds weird. Why would I say that? And beget is your word. Okay, weird. Anyway, God is crazy. I'm gonna go read Judges, and you're the best. How can people maybe follow you, or if they have any follow-up questions, they can reach out to me and I get it to you. But if people want to lean into your voice and your heart more, what's the best way to follow your journey?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you want to see what we're doing on outreach, you can hit us up on Instagram. We're at Lifepoint Outreach is our name. And so you can follow us on Instagram. We're always trying to post things that we're doing. And I'm actually just spoke with my outreach coordinators yesterday and said that, I'd like to give some of them the login so that they can capture stuff that, I'll never really see. Cause I mean, there's stuff happening all the time.
For real.
So we hope to highlight lots and lots of things. So you can catch outreach there. For me personally, I'm just at my I think it's Alisha Henley. Yeah, it's just Alisha Henley for Instagram. And you can always email me if you've got questions about our outreach. And so I'll just give anybody out there who's part of an outreach team that has some questions, I'll just shout out my email real quick, which is Henley, AHENLEY @lifepoint.org.
Perfect. You just shared your person. We have access to Alisha now.
Absolutely.
You are such a servant. Thank you so much for your time today. Thank you for your heart and for all you do.
Thank you for this opportunity. I really appreciate it.
It's so cool. Thanks everybody for watching. We'll see you next time on the Serve Brew. Have a good one. Bye.